So welcome everybody. Welcome to our webinar, or masterclass, actually, masterclass. When effortless doesn't feel easy. When Emma and Jamie sent me their proposed title for this webinar, I was like, yes, I really like this one. This will speak to a lot of people because it speaks to me, so it's bound to speak to lots of other people. And I know, having known Jamie and Emma for quite a while now, I know they'll have plenty of really good, juicy stuff to share. And they want you to be part of the conversation, as Emma just shared before we started recording. So I guess they'll be having a conversation. I think I said this last time we did a webinar. Dynamic duo is a phrase that comes to mind when I think about them. Not sure how much they like that, but it just feels like they're just such a great combo, and I find it entertaining to sit with them as their different personalities clash occasionally, and they have different things to share about the way they see things in the world. But I feel like we get a really balanced conversation. Nobody knows the truth completely. Nobody completely knows the truth. So I think it's so refreshing to have two people at the front of a room and hear their different perspectives on how they see truth. And so I'm delighted to hand over the mic to Jamie and Emma and look forward to conversation. And as they said, later on, they'll be inviting you into the conversation. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, thanks, Sheila. And
Yeah.
thank you first of all, for your kind introduction. And I really like these sessions. One of the reasons I really like it is, while Emma and I will agree a broad topic, as we've done today, why effortless creation isn't always easy. I never know what Emma's going to say because Emma doesn't like repeating herself. And so I tend to say, we'll save it till we're live and then I can find out live. And then you can see my honest reactions uh, to what's going on. But it's really nice to see everyone. Lots of people I know, lots of people I haven't met before, lots of old and new faces. So it's good to see you guys. And as Sheila said, we'd love to be in conversation with you guys about this topic because I'll say a quick framing thing. One of the things that occurs to me when it comes to, the principles is if they're true, like if they really are principles, then they don't need anyone to toe the party line. They don't need dogma. They don't need everyone to agree. If there's a way that they work, then we'll see it. It'll be there to be seen. So one of the things that I think is really natural in any community is there's a tendency for people to want to conform, to want to fit in, to want to say it right, to want to be seen to be repeating the right words and that sort of thing. And while I understand that tendency, it looks like uh, not really that useful. And, Sid used to say, don't follow leaders. Don't follow leaders. He used to say, no one knows better than you. And if no one knows better than you, then that means that there's a source of wisdom and intelligence and guidance and resilience and creativity within you that is utterly dependable, utterly reliable, and there to be tapped into, seen, followed, guided by, etc. And it's there in you. And I think one of the things that we're assuming in everything we're going to be exploring today is that you have that within you, and everyone you know has it within them. And we're going to defer to that power, that truth, that source of wisdom, insight, clarity on all matters. And then the stuff we're going to be talking about today is kind of different ways of pointing you back to that to make sense of life and what you want to create in this world. So that's kind of what's occurring to me straight from the jump. What about you, Emma McDevitt?
Thanks for the intro, Sheila. Lovely to see everyone here. The first thing that occurred to me when Sheila said, no one knows the truth is I thought, but some people are more sure of it than others. What else is occurring to me? I would love it to be more of a conversation. So if the title of this session is, I don't remember it exactly, but something along the lines of
When effortless
it
doesn't
doesn't
feel
feel
easy.
easy. I'd love to know if anyone fancies typing into the chat. You know, what falls into that camp for you? What's alive at the minute that doesn't feel easy? And that's sort of a standing invitation. So I'd love it if anyone wants to type now. If something occurs to you throughout our conversation, I'd love to hear it. Jamie, is there anything you want to start with in terms of picking up?
I thought I just did, but I can have another go at it.
Well, I've got a very short answer for when effortless doesn't feel easy, and it might be the end of the webinar.
Well, let's have your short answer, and if it's an early lunch, I'll take it.
It's not meant to be. You've been missold. It's not meant to be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. On that bombshell, I can speak to that for sure. So I, I'll tell you what I've seen, and then we can play around with this, how it looks to me, is like I was saying at the top of the call, we have this source of guidance, wisdom, creativity within us, which, and another way of saying that, there's this quote I love to bastardize by Taylor Desjardins, and my bastardized version goes like this: we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're one spiritual being having 8 billion human experiences. And who you really are is that one spiritual being. Who you really are is consciousness itself. Now, if the principle of consciousness is a divine intelligence that's everywhere, like even talking about it is as three principles is a way of making it easy for our intellect to grok, to understand. But there aren't really three of them. It's just one thing. It's this divine intelligence, this divine totality that's everywhere all at once. That's formless, right? It's before time, space, and matter, but time, space, and matter is made of it as well. Well, if that's who you really are, then what we might call your soul, your spirit, your inner source of guidance and wisdom, that's the local version of that divine totality. That's the local spark of that divine intelligence showing up in you. And we all have grown up in a world where it has paid for us to some degree to fit in, to conform, to do what we're told, to do what we're expected to do, and each one of us in our own ways have made adjustments, and most of them not that we weren't even conscious of, to allow ourselves to survive and thrive and get through life. And so that's useful, right? It's useful to be able to survive and thrive and not not get not get thrown out of the family car at the side of the road on the first holiday you go on because you were being annoying, right? Like to go on the journey. And so we learn to adapt ourselves in various ways. So for a variety of good reasons. And then we've got this wisdom and intelligence, the heart of our being, saying, yeah, there's something else for you. There's something more for you. And so that means that that wisdom and intelligence within us, which in principle is pointing us to the most beautiful life we could imagine, a genuinely beautiful, aligned, authentic life, means to some degree we need to be, it's going to guide us kicking and screaming through the bramble bushes of our conditioning, our ego, all that sort of stuff. Like, because how else are you going to get rid of all that crap, right? How else are you going to shake it off? You know, there's this line from, what's his name? Joseph Campbell. He said, you must get rid of the life you have been living if you are to have the life that is waiting for you. The old skin must be shed before the new skin can come. Now, I've never shed my skin literally, but I'm quite attached to it. It fits me quite well. It may not always be comfortable, but hey, it's my skin. Shedding it sounds like a bit of a bastard. It doesn't sound like it's going to be fun and easy and joyful all the time. Sometimes it's going to be a bit, you know. So when Emma says, it's not meant to be easy, I'm like, yeah, try shedding your skin easily. I'm not sure that that's in the game. So that's what occurs to me. I see we've got some comments.
Yeah, just to say that what's particularly fresh for me this morning is the recognition that it's actually from ease that come these new invitations into discomfort, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Like we touch that space, you know, that fertile void, like touch the knowing of who we really are. And because a bunch of our, you know, thought created problems, reality, hair shirts, guilt trips, whatever it is we're usually occupied with fall away, then there's space for us to receive those nudges from life. But those very nudges that we get are invitations into, by definition, something new, like into territory we haven't traversed before, into expressions of ourselves we're not familiar with. And so I feel like the ease bit of having insights into the principles gets a lot of public relations. But the next bit, the fact that it's kind of from there that we receive these nudges, these enthusiasms, these directives from life into, by necessity, kind of growth into, well, I could call it growth. It's actually into more of who we truly are at core, and it's into a falling away of those things that we're not. It's going to feel uncomfortable, and that's fine. Like that's the wisdom of the whole system doing its thing. And I think more than anything, it's the expectation that it should be comfortable, or
Yeah.
the orientation towards comfort over all else that ironically is going to keep us uncomfortable, is going to keep us stuck. The other thing I just want to say, Jamie might do a better job of expanding on it, but I'm not making a case for, you know, toughening up and embracing discomfort left, right, and center, because I'm not the least bit interested in living that kind of life. You know, I love feeling peaceful and, you know, within touching distance of that sense of who we all truly are. But it seems to me that in looking for short-term comfort, we miss the chance for a deeper sense of comfort in a way. It seems to me that that there's a, I can't think of the word. That there's a more enduring kind of ease that comes from understanding this whole process, like from having kind of gone willingly and knowingly into these uncomfortable territories, and being shown time and time again that the truth of who we are travels with us. Like, that's the eternal bit. That's always there. And so there's a different kind of ease that comes from being willing to go with the discomfort here and there, and sort of discovering experientially that who you really are never deserts you. And there's also a kind of enduring ease, in my experience, in almost like in the willingness to move with life, in the willingness to align with where it is that life is nudging us, inviting us, directing us, even though it can take us on roller coaster rides and often make things happen more quickly than we actually feel ready to, and all that sort of thing. There's an ease that comes with moving in the way that life wants to take us, rather than against the flow. But it doesn't feel the same as like sitting on your sofa eating ice cream and watching Netflix necessarily.
McDevitt, you said you wanted to have more of a conversation. I see people have typed stuff into the chat. Did you?
Would you want to just read through them?
Sure. First one is from Liv. Hi, Liv. Said, I just finished writing my first book. I felt it was effortless, but not easy. That's certainly how I felt writing my first book. My second book didn't feel easy or effortless, but it felt like trying to shit a bowling ball out. But it turned out to be the book I'm proudest of. So it's kind of interesting. Not because it was so hard to write, but just because of the clarity that came through it. So yeah, I understand. Shall I read all of them, or what's your idea, McDevitt?
Whatever makes sense to you. I thought you could, and I'll just jump in if it makes sense to you.
Sure. Eric says, when trying to be honest for myself to find good relationships, not easy. If I need to get divorced to find the good relationship. Yeah, I have a bunch of thoughts about that actually, but I'll leave it for now. Catherine, hi, Catherine says, there was a sentence that struck me in the description. Why is it that when you follow your inner voice in terms of what you wish to create, it really can be very hard to actually follow it? I can't see how that works. Shouldn't it actually be easier when following inner wisdom? How does that work, and why does it work this way? I want to know. I've got a very short almost but not quite facetious answer to this, which is, if it was easy to follow your inner voice, everyone would be doing it, right? Everyone would be fonts of wisdom going along. Theo says, hi Theo, says, in moving towards effortless, if things don't get done, things can seem to fall apart. The house, the car, the health, etc. Then things can feel less easy. For sure. And I I don't like to conflate effortless with things not getting done. But some, back to the old skin must be shed before the new skin can come. Sometimes the old skin, as it were, is kept in place by all the things we're doing to keep it propped up. So yeah. Any thoughts, McDevitt, on these?
Yeah, on Catherine's, thanks everybody for sharing, and I'm still interested if anyone else wants to share something. In Catherine's, I'm curious about, so why is it when you follow your inner voice in terms of what you wish to create, it is very hard to actually follow that? I'm unclear and curious to know what it is you mean by hard. Because I can make lots of different meanings of that. So I'd love to know if you don't mind typing into the chat. One thing that occurs to me is that I do hear a lot of things being equated, like following wisdom equals ease and not following wisdom equals hard. But it seems to me, when I think about like getting a sense for what's wisdom, when wisdom's guiding me and when it's something else, or what's aligned. I tend to think of it more often for me in terms of what's aligned and what isn't aligned. Well, doing something that's aligned can feel, sometimes that's easy, and sometimes doing something that's aligned is the hardest thing that I could be asked to do. And similarly, doing something that's not aligned, sometimes that can feel hard. And sometimes if it's comfortable and I'm quite good at it or whatever, it can feel easy. So for me personally, I don't really like to use hard or easy as a determiner of whether it's from wisdom or whether it's aligned or not. The the um, the grain of truth I see it is that how it seems to me, in my own experiences, when we align with where it is that the direction of life wants us to go, that to me is when all the synchronicities and serendipities and these like kind of mad coincidences and assistance from the universe often seem to come into play. And the most resistance I'm likely to get, or the most hard it's likely to be when I'm following wisdom, is from my own internal stuff, the discomfort and the barriers and the resistance to doing it. And conversely, doing stuff that's not aligned can sometimes feel really easy, but doesn't necessarily take me anywhere that it truly makes sense for me to be going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so Catherine said, by hard, I mean, I get a lot more insecure thinking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Literally tons more. And although I see and feel all of that thinking, know that I don't need to believe it's telling me to stop my path. It's very tiring to keep on telling my mind that all will be okay. I just sometimes wish I could quiet the noise so that I could get on with what makes sense to do. Yeah, I completely hear what you're saying, Catherine, and that has been 100% my experience many times and in all sorts of contexts and domains. And you know, Jamie and I have taught a program all about people bringing their unique expression to life, and we talk a lot in that about the idea, the notion of material for transformation, and you know, it presents in the very form that you're describing, is that, you know, we touch that space of wisdom, we get given guidance in a particular direction, and then as we go to act on that, it's like we are contravening our own kind of ego identity, our own admittedly illusory but very real feeling notions about who we are and what the world's like, what we're capable of, what's safe and what's dangerous, and all that sort of thing. And a couple of things. A mentor of mine used to say, go slowly, go gently, but keep going. And the other thing she used to talk about was doing things, taking these steps at a rate that your nervous system can handle. Because seems to me that these ideas that we've, they don't even feel like ideas, do they? The self concept we carry around with us, the sense of ourselves and the sense of what the world's like. Like it's not just that it feels real, it's what allows us to be in the world and have a human experience. Like, it, to me, it matters, it's precious. And that the journey of that whole program that we would run with people was really about exploring, you know, those gifts and qualities of being, and you know, the enthusiasms that have been placed in each person's heart by life, you know, shining a light on that and helping people orient more and more to the truth of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then moving through an experience which is allowing the sense of self, like the, you know, the map we're carrying around of ourselves and the world, to gradually move into alignment with the truth of who we are, you know, to catch up with it. I know for some lucky people, it's enough to get one glimpse of the truth of the principles, and all sense of self and limitation and the need for self-preservation and vulnerability and so on falls away. But for the vast majority of us, that's not the case. And my experience, and I don't think I have a quick answer for you on this call, but my experience over time has been that like, I know that each of those times that I am called somewhere and I go into sticky, unpleasant, uncomfortable places with lots of you know, insecure thinking and stuff, that's treasure to be reclaimed. And so it doesn't serve me to say it's just my thinking, or or to push on through that faster than I feel like my system can actually be with, it makes sense for me. Like in the knowing that who I really am can hold anything, can be with any feeling and be okay, to get curious about that, you know, to actually, with compassion and with care for myself and for the experience I'm having, to get curious about what's going on there. And what I've found over and over again is the more I'm able to be with the experience of the discomfort, without trying to ignore it or make it go away, but without getting sucked into the story either, the more I'm able to kind of see what's there to be seen, and the more available it is to be, what's coming to mind is to be almost like gifted back to me, in the form of like the truth that lies within it, of you know, capacities that I didn't realize before that I had, or almost like an aspect of my being where I didn't know the truth of who I am, gets welcomed back into the whole or something. I don't know how much sense I'm making, so feel free to pick up, to come back to me, or Jamie, if you've got anything to share.
Well, you're making a lot of sense to me, and a couple of things occur to me. And just as a kind of detour for a second, one of the realizations I had very early on in my exploration with the principles was, oh, as a coach and as a doing therapeutic change work and stuff, was, oh, the fact that a person can see, hear, feel, perceive, the fact that a person can have a human experience means they have this source of wisdom, creativity, resilience, truth, beauty, clarity, insight within them. And that really helped me out as a coach, because it's like, if anyone asks me, what are you relying on as a coach? What are you counting on? I'm relying on that source of wisdom, resilience, realization, guidance in my client and in myself. And as I was listening to Emma, what I heard was, what do you trust? What do you know for sure? What are you having faith in? So what I didn't hear is, what I'm having faith in is, if I just tell myself it's just my thinking, then I'll have an effortless creative life. What I heard was, because I know that at my heart I am resilient, that there's nothing I can experience that can harm me, then there's nothing I'm afraid to look at. I'm reminded of that Sid Banks quote that gets used a lot, which is, you know, if the only thing people learned is not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. Well, why would that change the world? Because for so many of us, so much of the time, we're avoiding doing what our heart's guiding us to do because we're afraid we couldn't handle it. We couldn't bear the feeling of it. And you can. You can. So in a way, it kind of boils down to, what do you trust? What do you have faith in? What do you rely on? You know, there's a quote I love by Steve Jobs he gave a talk quite near the end of his life to Stanford graduating class. And one of the things he was talking about, how the journey of his studies and his collaborating to create Apple and the first Apple computers and the business and his whole journey, which included a lot of ups and downs, included being fired as CEO of Apple, included recovering from cancer, all kinds of different things. He said, above all, have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. And this, just my way of thinking about it, is that your heart, your intuition, the wisdom and guidance within, it already knows the future. It already knows who you are and what you are to become. It already knows the path that life brought you here to walk. It already knows what you're here for. It already knows all of that. Your ego, your conditioning, your thought-generated perceptual reality only knows about the past. It only knows where you've been. It doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know what your future holds. Your ego doesn't know what you're capable of. It doesn't know any of that. And my own experience is that pretty much every time I have the courage to follow my heart and my intuition, my ego fucking kicks off. Doesn't like it because it looks scary. It looks, no, not there. We don't know, because it's the unknown, right? It's the unknown. So to me, whether you want to call it having trust or having faith or following your heart, following your intuition, whatever you want to call it, sooner or later, we each have to decide, what are we going to place our trust in? What are we going to put our faith in? What are we, there's my favorite book, one of my favorite books, The Missing Link by Sid Banks. In the introduction, he says, there are those in this world who believe miracles do not happen. I can assure such skeptics that they do. With hope and faith as beacons, anything can happen. So to me, what he's talking about there, the miracles he's talking about, the anything can happen that he's talking about, is the truth and beauty of what your heart already knows is possible, the life you're here to live, the journey you're here to go on. And so the question then becomes, what are you hoping for? And what do you have faith in? And I think having faith in, for me anyway, kind of boils down to those things that Emma was pointing to, like, what are you going to rely on? What are you going to trust? What are you going to put your faith in? Is it your memories? Is it your fears and insecurities? Is it something else? That's what occurs to me, Emma McDevitt.
Yeah, sorry I had to duck out. Just got a knock at the door. Yeah, I really liked what you said. What's coming to mind is my way of navigating and choosing what to do and all that sort of thing is, one way or another to go to listen to that inner guidance, to go to that place where that comes from. And then to do the thing and to expect that I might feel all sorts of ways about what I'm doing while I'm doing it. But really not to second guess it once I've had that instruction, and then to listen for the next bit of inner guidance or the next breadcrumb, and go from there. So I guess for me, while I might have all sorts of felt experience during any given day, what I'm not doing is what I'm clear about is what I trust, and that the ebbs and flows of that felt experience aren't what I'm trusting or putting my weight on or relying on. And it sort of links to one of the things that just popped up when I was thinking about this webinar title. So the first one was that thing about it's not meant to be easy. And the other thing that popped up when I was reading something about why hasn't it happened yet, or something like that, was the phrase, you haven't decided yet. And I've been shown over and over again that the universe can't help but reflect back to us whatever it is we're really up to. So it's incredibly useful and benevolent if we want to see it that way. So if we're waiting and seeing, then the universe will tend to be waiting and seeing. If what's really driving us is staying safe or making sure we don't make a fool of ourselves or keeping up appearances or trying to prove ourselves in some way, then the universe can't help but, the world around us can't help but show us something that's a mirror of our what it is we're actually up to, what it is we're actually preoccupied with. And that's not to make ourselves wrong. It's just useful. It's just really useful to know. So yeah, that's what sprung to mind.
Do you have any interesting, dramatic, or salacious examples of what you've just been talking about to bring it to life for people?
I'll just talk and see if a specific example comes to mind. But every so often, if I feel like life's got a bit quiet and predictable, I play this game called, I've just ended up calling it No Second Guessing, so NSG, and I pop it in my, Wendy says salacious, please. I pop it in my diary. I like keep an online journal, and I just pop it in when I start doing it. And the first time I played this game, No Second Guessing, I thought I'd play it for like 90 days. But honestly, like if you actually just start acting and you don't second guess any of your nudges and you do them immediately, my guess is you'll stop within a fortnight because you'll have made so many new things happen that you can't keep up with them all. And mad coincidences and all sorts of, I don't know, it makes me think of that quote. Oh, and just to say, sorry, I'm going all over the place a bit, but just to say that for me, it's very rarely about deciding a particular, I want this to happen. It's more deciding to align with life or be true to the nudges or that sort of thing. I'm sure it works differently for different people. But that's my commitment, I suppose. That's the bit that was a really game-changing for me, was that, oh, well, I'm just going to follow this, soul path, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, no matter what. And I'm going to put my trust in it, and I'm going to take out all that energy of second guessing, of wondering what's going to be the best outcome for me, how it's going to, affect other people, all that sort of thing. And it's like it frees up this of creative energy. And it made me think of that quote, which I've actually got handy, the William H. Murray one of, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too.
Yeah, I love that, Emma McDevitt. And it seems to me like it's interesting, Emma, you of everyone I know, you're you're the most hardcore when it comes to committing to and following that alignment, that integrity, that sort of thing. And my background has been one of trying to have my cake and eat it, right? And spending years trying to have my cake and eat it, and then going, okay, I'll give up a little more cake, I'll give up a little more cake, I'll give up a little more cake. There's a way in which that looks like the comfortable path, but it's actually a hard path. And there's a way in which the path of ease is the path of deciding what you're committed to, what you're aligned with, what you're gonna bet the house on, right? What you're gonna bet the farm on. I've got a sense of Sid Banks again. A line, if the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. Well, there's a way in which a lot of times people find their way to these principles to ease suffering. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think the principles are one of the most amazing, certainly one of the most amazing things in my own life in terms of easing suffering and that sort of thing. But then I see people so enjoy the beautiful feeling and so enjoy the benefits of living from a deeper understanding of life that it's almost like they get afraid to do anything that might disrupt that. Wow, that's being afraid of your experience. That's the only thing people learned. I think Sid might have said, if the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experience, that would change the world. If the second thing people learned was that they're feeling thought in the moment and can live in a beautiful feeling, that would be the second thing. But the first one was not to be afraid of your experience. And I mean, that's still the one I'm learning.
And just to say on the back of that, actually, my experience has been over and over again, and I'm not speaking, this might not be principles compliant or anything like that, but
God damn it, McDevitt.
but the more I just allow, well, I'll talk about coaching and then I'll talk about myself actually. So what I often find when I'm working with people is that they will come into a space of feeling safety in their systems, feel relaxed, and they're close to the truth of who they are. And then some feeling cycle that never got to complete, from some experience they had when they were younger, will spontaneously come up to complete, with tears or shaking or anger or whatever. And that to me is the wisdom of the system, the wisdom of our self-correcting system, healing in a way. And you can say there's nothing to heal, but it still is clear to me at the level of our kind of human experience, we have experiences, we have a very natural reaction to them. And if for any reason that process gets interrupted, then that pattern and the beliefs that form around it are kind of incomplete. And that to me is another demonstration of the real-time intelligence of the system, is that it will do its healing thing given the right conditions. And so what I find over and over again is that if I'm allow myself to experience what it is I am feeling, not to get all chewed up in the story, but to allow whatever the feelings of, anxiety or upset or whatever might be, then a system correcting or a system healing process quite organically takes place. And I think it can be very detrimental, the idea that understanding the principles means you should kind of feel peaceful or good all the time, because for me, real peace and a real feeling of aliveness comes when we know that we're, absolutely safe to feel anything. And that's where our system operates best and can do what it is it's designed to do.
Yeah, I love that, Emma. Emma, I was going to respond to a couple of things Miriam had said. Also, Catherine responded. She really got helped by what she heard you say about the rate that your system can handle it. Wendy had a question about something she's inspired to do. So while I'm responding to Miriam, maybe you can have a read through those. I have a hard stop on the hour, so I'm going to suddenly jump out. Miriam says, what about the claim, feel the fear and do it anyway? Well, Miriam, that's actually a book title by Susan Jeffers, massive bestseller. And by definition, it was something that resonated with people. That's why it sells millions of copies. But there's no nuance in it. Like if someone jumps out of an alley and points a knife at me, I'm going to feel the fear and I'm going to run away. That's a really, I don't want to, I'm not going to say feel the fear means I should do whatever. I know that it's a good idea to run away from someone who's wielding a knife at me. But I think that the seed of truth in that title and the real reason it resonated with so many people is because it wasn't about fear, it was about anxiety. Like fear is a life-saving evolutionary response designed to get us out of a dangerous situation in our environment. That's what fear is for. Bunny rabbits get a fear response triggered a couple of times a day when their lives are in danger, and they run away and then eat carrots and have sex. And they don't have any stress-related illness in rabbits or anything like that.
Can I just
go on?
But if they have to do the freeze response, then afterwards they shake all over.
Yeah. They let it out.
That's part of what stops them having, stress, chronic stress and ulcers and all that sort of thing. There's nothing in the way of their system's wisdom doing what it needs to do to process the experience.
Exactly. And so it seems to me that Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway is a good book title and can certainly help us remember to not allow anxiety or insecure thinking from stopping us doing what it's in our heart to do, what's aligned for us. But there are plenty of good reasons to feel afraid and not do the thing. So I don't want to make it a blanket rule. Guys, I have to go. This has been wonderful.
Can I say one quick thing, or is that?
Yeah, you can say whatever you like. It's only me that has to go.
Okay.
But I want to hear your quick thing before I
Okay. It just, if there's one other thing that it might not be helpful to everyone, but it might be helpful to someone, that I'd like to say is that for me, I don't find it at all helpful to think, what would I like to create, or my vision, or anything like that. It just gets in the way. And I think for a lot of us, we've not been particularly schooled or conditioned to think in terms of I, and I don't know that it's that helpful or natural anyway. And so for me, I find a much more generative question is this kind of, what does life want to create through me, or what does life want from me? Because it seems to me that it's life, it's this greater intelligence that knows what we're capable of, that it's like we're life's gift to itself, like the gifts and qualities of being that we've got, that we, like our self-evaluation doesn't even know about or doesn't recognize as worthwhile. Like life's put our enthusiasms into us for a reason, but it's also the one giving us the nudges and instructions. And for me, that makes it a lot easier for me to do scary things. It's almost like it's not even about me. I don't get to say no. It's like it's come from the boss, not the boss. I don't like having a boss, but you know the idea. But also, then when you recognize that you're actually in service of something larger, it frees you from that horrible idea that you've got to champion yourself. Yeah. You're not. You're just playing a part in something that life wants to create, and you've just got a role in it that you can be generous or negligent about, is how it looks to me.
I love it. I've got to go. Thank you so much, Emma McDevitt. Thank you, Sheila. Thanks, all of you. I'm out.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie. And as Jamie jumps off, shall we end there, Emma? Is that a good place?
Sure. I mean, I've got a couple of minutes if anyone's got a burning question or anything they'd like to share.
Somebody coming in at the wrong time, just so joining us.
It's
that happens.
Sorry, actually I'm quite confused. The link said 1 till 2, so I've just joined.
Oh, it's 1 till 2 European time, yeah.
Okay, cheers, thank you.
Sorry, and nice to see your face, Marie.
There'll be a recording. There is a recording.
If no one has any questions or comments, I'm happy to leave it there. Just reading the last few comments before I leave.
I feel what you shared, Emma, though, is a beautiful place to leave it, actually. What does life want to create through us? I think that's just something for us all to sit with. I love that. Yeah,
I'm glad it was helpful to some of you.
It's an ongoing forever question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Inquiry, probably.
Yeah.
True desire.
Yeah. Can I just say thank you, Emma, for what you've just said, because I've spent an awful long time trying to find out what needs to come through me. Who am I? What do I do? And just to realize, and I have done that for quite some time as well, that just allow life to live through me and for me to be doing what I'm meant to be doing. But I always felt really guilty about that and, not really following through on it at times. And that's been so helpful. So thank you. And the other part you said was allowing your nervous system to feel okay with moving forward when it does. And I've made a very, very big decision this morning and I followed that precisely. And yeah, I feel so free now.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Well, thank you so much.
So glad.
Yeah.
Thank you, Birdie. That was beautiful.
Much love.
And to you. Lovely to see you.
Thank you. And thank you, Sheila, for having the group as well, and Jamie. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been, sorry, I keep getting distracted wanting to read the comments, but yeah, it's been lovely spending this time with you all.
Likewise. So shall we call, I mean, there is another one about, can you talk more about relationships? But I don't know, that sounds like a long topic, but maybe you've got a one-liner, Emma, I don't know.
Oh my
Sometimes
goodness.
you have a one-liner.
Maybe that's one for a different
a
different session. I wish I did have one wise line about relationships, but I'm not sure I do.
Yeah, me neither.
Thanks very much, all.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. See you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.